RuneScape is a massive game with over 25 years worth of content. If you are a new player or someone who is returning to the game after a long break, it can be difficult to know where to start. My goal in this video is to help you along your journey and give you 10 account goals to strive for and get you headed in the right direction. Starting off in chronological order, first is just complete free-to-play content. It's what I usually do on every account I create, and by free-to-play content, I mean by completing the free-to-play quests and also leveling some free-to-play skills. You're gonna have to do a lot of this anyway, and members isn't gonna give you too much of a boost, so I always like at least completing some of the basics in free-to-play before moving on to members. For example, on my Hardcore Ironman, I completed most of the free-to-play quests before moving on to members. Some of the more notable ones that I probably would suggest completing is Necromancy. You can get level 20 Necromancy and complete the introductory quest in free-to-play before moving on to members. Completing some really old quests like Vampire Slayer, Priest in Peril, The Restless Ghost, Rune Mysteries, especially the Knight's Sword, getting you some early smithing XP. A lot of these free-to-play quests, they will need to be done on your account sooner or later, and so it doesn't hurt to just do them on free-to-play while you're getting a good grasp for the game. This leans into account goal number 2, unlock and focus on Necromancy, specifically the Necromancy upgrade tasks. Necromancy is by far the easiest combat style to learn and understand in RuneScape right now. There currently is some development to make ranged magic and melee more understandable and easier for beginners, but it isn't done just yet, and Necromancy is just much easier to use and to learn. So I highly recommend new players try out Necromancy. It is a really powerful combat style, but also one that's fairly easy to learn and use. Necromancy has a very linear upgrade path, and it can be easy to follow for new players. You'll want to start by completing the Kiln quest, which does require level 20 Necromancy, and it also follows your free-to-play Necromancy training perfectly. Once you complete the intro Necromancy quest, you can level it up to level 20 in free-to-play, and then right when you get members, start the Kiln quest. This starts the upgrade path for your Necromancy gear. Essentially, every 10 levels you will be able to go back to Kiln and start a new task to learn or unlock the ability to create better Necromancy gear. So you can just follow along every 10 levels, go to her, try and complete the task, and then you'll need crafting and smithing to create the gear. These tasks from Kiln continue on for quite a while. There are tasks all the way up to level 90 Necromancy, and the tasks from level 70, 80, and 90 do require you to start fighting bosses with Necromancy, so you can slowly learn the Necromancy combat style and get comfortable against actual bosses. Some of these bosses are much easier done with a group, which transitions well to account goal number 3, find a community or a clan. RuneScape is an MMO after all, so it is fun to play with other players. Clans can help find people to do some group bosses with, or even just answer some simple questions that you might have. There are all kinds of communities and Discord servers to join. I myself have a Discord community, and everyone is welcome to join. The link to it is in the description down below. We would be more than happy to help answer any RuneScape related questions and help you along your journey. I also have an in-game clan that is fairly new, but recruiting players if you want to join. Quests are essential for progression in RuneScape. There are so many quests that are extremely helpful for your account, but I just wanted to name a few of the most important quests that you need to try and complete. The first quest is a fairly early game quest, the Haunted Mine. This quest unlocks the Salve Amulet, which gives you a plus 15% accuracy and damage boost against undead creatures. This can unlock some really good training methods in the early game, and it's also the best in slot amulet for some of the end game bosses that are undead. Succession is another fairly early game quest. It does unlock the dive ability and the infernal puzzle box, which allows your adrenaline to no longer drain outside of combat. And you can add it to your tool belt, making it a huge quality of life upgrade. The Penguin Quest series does consist of various different quests, but it does help you improve the Penguin's weekly D&D. This is a D&D where you search around for penguins to find, and you can get enough points to gain hundreds of thousands of XP in any skill of your choice. Do note that this may be changed with the upcoming changes to Dailyscape and D&Ds in RuneScape. There are also a few Necromancy quests that are extremely important. The Spirit of War unlocks the boss Hermod, which is probably going to be one of the early game bosses that you fight if you choose Necromancy as your main combat style. Requiem for a Dragon is another pretty important quest. You will actually need to have defeated Vorkath in story mode before completing this quest, and it unlocks the Ungale Ritual Site, which also is really important for Necromancy. Temple at Senisen is another iconic quest to strive for. It doesn't have as many quest requirements as it did in the past, but it still is a really important quest to complete and unlocks curses. Plague's End unlocks Prifddinas, which has so much content locked behind it, and it is a huge quest to complete. Alpha versus Omega, it's the final Necromancy quest, where you unlock Raziel, the final boss for Necromancy. It drops the tier 95 Necromancy gear and weapon upgrades, so you'll probably be at this boss for quite a while if you stick with Necromancy. There are obviously a lot of quests in the game, but those are some of the most important to try and complete. Another crucial unlock is the Gate of Elidinis, which requires the Soul Searching quest as a part of the Tomes of Warlock and Requiem for a Dragon quest line. It is a huge unlock for Ironman accounts because it unlocks one of the best crafting training methods in the game. Ironman accounts do have a difficult time training crafting, and the Gate of Elidinis unlocks a crazy good crafting training method which doesn't require any supplies but still gains you a few 100,000 crafting XP per hour. Not only that, but the skilling boss Gate of Elidinis does drop two huge upgrades, which is the Runiga Tuner, a rune crafting offhand, and the Memory Dowser, an offhand for divination. Both of these are extremely powerful skilling offhands and especially useful for Ironman accounts. The Kiln Cape is a cape slot upgrade that should be on your radar to complete. The Fight Kiln does require the quest The Elder Kiln completed, which does have a requirement of 75 magic, but it is just part of your overall account progression. The Fight Kiln is a 37 wave fight similar to the Zuk fight, except it is much easier and can be done in the mid-game. Upon completing the Fight Kiln, depending on what combat style you used, you will be awarded a cape for that combat style, which is a pretty big upgrade for the mid-game. The cape will later on be able to be upgraded through the Zuk fight and unlocking the Zuk Cape. Invention is another crucial unlock for any account. It requires level 80 divination, crafting, and smithing to unlock. It is an elite skill, so the skill curve does work a little differently, but essentially training the skill involves you augmenting your gear, doing combat, which levels up that gear, and siphoning off the XP. The rewards from Invention are extremely powerful for combat. You unlock super powerful perks, which you can use on your augmented gear, improving your damage, as well as some perks for skilling tools to improve your XP per hour at different skilling methods. It really is a huge upgrade, so having that level 80 divination, smithing, and crafting requirement completed should be in the back of your mind, and you should slowly work towards that as you're progressing your account. Overloads is another huge account goal to go for. It is a lofty one and one that you'll probably obtain later in the end game maybe, because it requires level 96 Herblore. Now you can get 91 Herblore and boost to 96 to make the overloads. That's perfectly fine, but essentially overloads are an untradeable potion which boosts all your combat stats, and it's a static boost as well, meaning if you drink something like a Saradomin Brew, it won't lower your stats. So it is extremely helpful for PvM and can even further be upgraded upon as Herblore goes to level 120. You can make better overloads along the way, but unlocking the base overloads is a huge upgrade and will unlock a lot of PvM encounters for you. If you've made it this far and have all of the previous account goals completed, you can probably take on Zuk and obtain your Zuk Cape. The Zuk Cape is a huge upgrade for any combat style because it upgrades a pre-existing ultimate ability, allowing it to be more powerful while also costing less adrenaline. The Zuk fight is a 16-wave fight, and it is a difficult PvM encounter. It challenges your sustainability through fighting different waves of mobs, attacking with all 3 combat styles. There's a few Jads which have the possibility of insta-killing you, and finally Wave 16 is Zuk himself. A pretty difficult boss, but also one with a very rewarding fight. You will want to defeat Zuk through a flawless run to obtain the Igneous Stone, meaning completing the full fight without leaving and using the checkpoint system. This will allow you to upgrade your previous Kiln Cape to a Zuk Cape. Finally, once you have a Zuk Cape, you have unlocked all of the bosses in the game. You can go for best in slot gear, maybe that's with Necromancy and taking on Raziel and going for the tier 95 gear, or maybe you want to take on the combat achievements, a new system introduced into RuneScape 3, which tests your PvM ability at every boss in the game, and it also comes with some pretty useful rewards. RuneScape is a very top-heavy game, meaning it has a lot of endgame content. There's over 60 bosses to defeat and learn, and so many upgrades and unique item drops to obtain. Once you maybe max out your Necromancy combat style, maybe it's time to take on a new combat style and start getting upgrades for that. There is so much to do in RuneScape's endgame, and this video should give you a path to get there. Again, feel free to join my Discord, the link to that is in the description down below, and if you're interested in joining the clan, just shoot me a message in the Discord channel, and I'll be happy to invite you. See you guys in the next one. Peace.